Imagine this, a powerful icon, an artist who's not only mastered the music industry, but has also sparked wild theories about control, influence, and something far darker lurking behind the scenes. What if everything we know about the biggest names in music is wrong? What if there's a secret force that's pulling the strings in ways we can't even begin to understand? Stick with me, because the story I'm about to unfold might just change everything you thought you knew about Beyoncé, Erykah Badu, and the music industry at large. Bush had long been associated with bizarre and unsettling rumors, allegations that seemed too far-fetched to even consider seriously. From dark, mysterious music rituals to disturbing whispers about cannibalism and other grotesque behaviors, these stories seemed like nothing more than sensationalized fiction. Yet when you stop and think about it, a chilling question arises. Could there be any truth to these claims? The more you think about it, the more layers of mystery begin to unfold. The whispers have persisted for years, long enough that they can't be completely dismissed. Could there be a hidden side to the music industry, one that's shrouded in secrecy, where power, influence, and something much more sinister lurk behind the carefully curated public faces we know and adore? The idea sounds almost impossible, but as you dive deeper, you begin to see unsettling connections and patterns emerge. One name that consistently seems to come up in these discussions is none other than Beyoncé. And let's be very clear, no one is denying her incredible talent or her tireless work ethic. She's a force to be reckoned with, a true icon of our time. Her impact on the music industry is undeniable, and she has built a career that most artists could only dream of. But there's a growing unease surrounding her influence, something that goes beyond just her achievements. It's the nature of the power she seems to wield. In conversations that have been gaining traction, there's been a rising theory, one that's both shocking and provocative, that Beyoncé has a kind of control over the entire music industry, something that goes beyond mere fame. At first glance, it sounds absurd, but when you start to consider how often other artists thank her in their acceptance speeches, how almost without fail she's the first name mentioned when someone wins an award, it starts to raise serious questions. This isn't just a random occurrence or a coincidence. It happens so often with such consistency that it's impossible to ignore the pattern. Almost every artist, whether they've been in the game for decades or are just starting out, makes it a point to thank Beyoncé. Not their producers, not their teams, not even the journey that brought them to that moment, but her. It's almost as if there's an unspoken rule, an unwritten obligation to acknowledge her before anyone else. This is not a one-off. This is the rule, not the exception. Why, what is it about Beyoncé that makes her the focal point of such an outpouring of gratitude? What is it about her that compels artists to publicly express their admiration and thanks in such a pronounced way? It's not as if the entire music industry hasn't produced other icons. Legends like Madonna, Michael Jackson, or Whitney Houston, for example. But none of them seem to command the same level of reverence, the same type of universal acknowledgement that Beyoncé receives time and time again. Could it be that Beyoncé is more than just an artist? Could she be operating in a different realm of influence, one that extends far beyond her music? Take Lizzo, for instance, a young artist at the peak of her career. When she won a major award, she didn't just thank her team or her supporters. She thanked Beyoncé with such overwhelming emotion that she broke down in tears. "Who believes in you and supports you? Beyoncé," she said, her voice trembling. For Lizzo, Beyoncé wasn't just a role model, she was a life-changing force. In that moment, it wasn't just gratitude, it was something deeper, almost spiritual. Then there's Adele, who, after winning a Grammy, literally broke her trophy in half so she could share it with Beyoncé. Adele, another powerhouse of the music world, publicly stated that Beyoncé was the artist of her life and credited her Lemonade album as one of the most impactful pieces of art she had ever encountered. Adele, a superstar in her own right, felt the need to offer Beyoncé not just a token acknowledgement but a deep, heartfelt tribute. This isn't just a one-time occurrence or isolated to a few artists. The pattern is undeniable. In speeches, award shows, and interviews, there's an unspoken undercurrent, an almost collective compulsion among artists to pay homage to Beyoncé. It's as if there's a subtle pressure to acknowledge her, as if her name must be uttered before any other. And it's not just the young up-and-comers. Even legends like Mary J. Blige have felt the need to express their admiration for Beyoncé in the same reverential tone. Now let's think about this from a different angle. Normally, gratitude flows upward in the music industry towards mentors, pioneers, and legends who paved the way. When a young artist wins an award, they typically thank those who helped them get there, especially those who mentored them or inspired them. But with Beyoncé, the dynamic feels different. The gratitude is not just about respect. It's almost as if there's a hierarchical shift, with Beyoncé at the top, reigning above even the mentors and icons. Why does it feel like the music industry has shifted the natural flow of gratitude, with Beyoncé positioned at the apex? Is this just respect for her unmatched artistry, or is there something else, something more subtle and powerful at play? As we delve into this question, let's revisit a pivotal moment in pop culture, the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor Swift had just won an award when Kanye West stormed the stage and interrupted her speech. Kanye famously said, "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'll let you finish." But Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. At the time, Kanye was widely criticized as being disrespectful and out of line. But now, with the benefit of hindsight, a different question emerges. What if Kanye wasn't interrupting to steal the spotlight, but instead was trying to redirect attention away from Taylor and back to Beyoncé? What if Kanye was trying to protect Taylor, shielding her from the harsh realities of an industry that could have destroyed her career if she hadn't acknowledged Beyoncé in that moment? This is a game-changing theory that challenges everything we thought we knew about that incident. And as we revisit this moment, suddenly the old rumors and stories that once seemed so ridiculous start to take on a new significance. There have been whispers for years now about Beyoncé's performances, not just the music or choreography, but what happens backstage before she even steps on stage. Some have been described as ritualistic. Fans quickly dismiss these claims as mere artistry or creative direction. But people who have been in those spaces say the energy feels different, heavier, more intentional. It's almost as if there's a deeper level of spiritual involvement at play, something beyond what we see on stage. Then there's Sasha Fierce, Beyoncé's stage persona. Is it just a gimmick, a tool for performance, or is there something more to Sasha Fierce? Beyoncé herself has stated that Sasha takes over when she steps on stage, as if it's not even her performing but something else, something more powerful. And as new stories and revelations surface, the conversation around Sasha doesn't seem so simple anymore. Could this persona be linked to something deeper, something beyond performance? Something perhaps connected to the hidden world of influence and control that people are beginning to suspect? This question was brought to light in 2018, when Kimberly Thompson, Beyoncé's former drummer, filed legal papers accusing Beyoncé of extreme behavior. She alleged that Beyoncé had been monitoring her phone, engaging in harassment, and even using spiritual attacks. Thompson went further, claiming that Beyoncé had hypnotized her, and made the bizarre accusation that Beyoncé was snacking on her people's cats. The court dismissed the case, but the real question remains. Why would someone risk their entire career making such serious and strange accusations? What happened to Thompson after she made these claims? Why did she struggle to find work in the industry? Could there be more to this story than meets the eye? The situation surrounding Beyoncé, her influence, and the music industry as a whole is undeniably complicated. Whether it's the strange way artists consistently thank her or the unsettling rumors surrounding her performances, there's something that feels different, something deeper, darker. As we continue to peel back the layers of this story, the questions only multiply. What does it all mean, and why do certain names keep emerging in these conversations? Is it just admiration? Or is there a hidden web of power that we're only just beginning to understand? Take Lizzo, for example. At one of the most emotional moments of her career, Lizzo stood on stage, overcome with emotion as she thanked Beyoncé for changing her life. Through tears, she uttered, "Who believes in you and supports you? Beyoncé." The words were raw and sincere, a testament to the profound impact Beyoncé had on her journey. But it doesn't end there. Then there's Adele, who, in an unprecedented gesture, broke her Grammy Award in half just to share it with Beyoncé. Adele, who has long been one of the industry's brightest stars, called Beyoncé her artist of the life, and referred to her Lemonade album as something truly monumental. She described the album as so monumental, so beautiful, so soul-bearing, a work that revealed a side of Beyoncé. But this admiration doesn't stop with just these high-profile artists. Even Shabuzi at the 2024 People's Choice Country Awards thanked Beyoncé, which left many people puzzled. Why would an artist like him feel the need to single her out in his speech? Any artist could ask for that, and thank you, Beyoncé. You're amazing, he said, with gratitude that seemed almost rehearsed. And when one user questioned why Beyoncé was thanked so frequently, others quickly joined in, raising eyebrows. What did Beyoncé have to do with this guy winning? One asked. It's a curious pattern that has persisted far beyond simple respect. Why does it feel like every artist, regardless of age, genre, or status, feels the need to honor her in this way? In the music industry, gratitude usually flows upward, towards mentors, pioneers, and the veterans who paved the way for the next generation. So why does the gratitude towards Beyoncé feel like a reversal of that traditional hierarchy? Why does it seem that artists are acknowledging her not just as a peer, but almost as a force of nature in the industry, one that transcends the typical paths of recognition? It's almost as if, when an artist wins, they're compelled to give thanks to Beyoncé first, as though she is the foundation, the one who truly holds the power. And then, of course, there's the infamous 2009 MTV Video Music Awards incident, the one that remains a defining moment in pop culture. Taylor Swift had just won her award when Kanye West stormed the stage. The infamous words came tumbling out. "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'll let you finish, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time." The crowd roared, but the moment was also met with controversy. People called Kanye disrespectful, crazy, and out of line for interrupting. But now, with the benefit of hindsight, a different question arises. Was Kanye really interrupting, or was he redirecting the attention toward Beyoncé? It's easy to think of Kanye as the villain in this situation, but what if he was trying to protect Taylor? What if he was trying to keep the focus on the industry's real queen, Beyoncé, in a moment that could have easily turned against Taylor? Could Kanye have been trying to ensure that Taylor, still a young artist at the time, didn't get lost in the glare of an industry that was already under Beyoncé's spell? The dynamics of that moment now seem more complicated, more layered, and more strategic than they first appeared. There's a bigger story here, one that goes beyond a simple outburst. It's about the shifting dynamics of power in the music industry, and the fact that Beyoncé, despite being so loved and admired, seems to be at the center of it all. From Lizzo's tears to Adele's Grammy, from Shabuzi's acknowledgement to Kanye's interruption, there's an unmistakable undercurrent that suggests something deeper is happening. Something more than just admiration, something more than simple respect. And the more you dig, the more you start to realize this isn't just about Beyoncé's music. This is about something else entirely. What is it that Beyoncé really represents to these artists? Is it more than just a career aspiration? Is it something far more complex? A deeper force that drives the industry, influences decisions, and keeps artists looking toward her as a guiding light? These are the questions that keep resurfacing, questions that don't have easy answers, but are undeniably part of the conversation. At the time, Kanye West was widely criticized for his behavior at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. People called him disrespectful, out of line, and downright crazy for interrupting Taylor Swift's acceptance speech. But now, with the benefit of hindsight and a closer look at the situation, we can ask, what if Kanye wasn't interrupting, but instead redirecting the attention away from Taylor Swift and towards Beyoncé? What if Kanye was trying to protect Taylor from the harsh realities of the music industry, an industry that can easily chew up and spit out artists if they're not careful? What if he saw that Taylor, still at the beginning of her career, would have been swallowed by the very same machine that Beyoncé had already come to dominate? The implications of this theory are huge. It reframes everything we thought we knew about that infamous moment. Could Kanye have been trying to shield Taylor, not from the public backlash, but from the weight of a system that demands allegiance to a higher power, one that Beyoncé, whether intentionally or not, represents? Yes. Now, as time passes and old stories begin to resurface, what once seemed laughable or easily dismissed no longer feels so lighthearted. Over the years, whispers have circulated about Beyoncé's performances, not just the music, the choreography, or the showmanship we see on stage, but the preparation that goes on behind closed doors. There have been talks of secret rituals, candles being lit, specific formations being created, moments that some have described as almost ritualistic. Of course, fans will argue that this is simply artistry, creative direction, or sage design, a product of Beyoncé's unique vision as a performer. And that's valid. But what if there's more to it than that? Those who have actually been in the room behind the scenes have spoken differently. They claim the energy in those spaces feels completely different, heavier, more intentional. It's almost as if there's an unspoken power that surrounds her performances. It's not just about music. It's something else, something palpable that can be felt in the air. The way the room shifts when she walks in. The way everything falls into place when she steps onto the stage. These stories are starting to paint a much bigger picture. one that isn't so easily explained away by simple creative choices. And let's not forget the alter ego she so famously created, Sasha Fierce. Was that just a stage persona, a gimmick to help Beyoncé channel a different energy while performing? Or is there something deeper at play here, something tied to Beyoncé's very identity and how she presents herself on stage? Beyoncé herself has admitted that Sasha Fierce isn't just a persona. It's a force that takes over when she steps into the spotlight. She said that Sasha allows her to tap into a side of herself that doesn't exist off stage. It's as if there's a separation between Beyoncé, the woman, and Sasha, the performer. But now, looking back at everything that's been revealed, it doesn't seem so simple anymore. Was Sasha Fierce merely a performance tactic, or does this persona represent something deeper, something Beyoncé can't fully control, something that goes beyond just being an artist? The more stories surface, the more it seems that Sasha Fierce is a manifestation of something far more complex. Perhaps it's not just about performance. Maybe it's about something spiritual, something transcendent, something that goes beyond the music. And as more information about Beyoncé's practices and persona leaks out, we're left questioning, how much of Beyoncé's true self do we really know? In 2018, an unsettling accusation surfaced when Beyoncé's former drummer, Kimberly Thompson, filed legal documents accusing the star of extreme behavior. Thompson claimed that she had been subjected to harassment, had her phone monitored, and even alleged that Beyoncé had subjected her to spiritual attacks. As if those claims weren't strange enough, Thompson went on to make bizarre allegations, one of which involved Beyoncé allegedly hypnotizing her and even snacking on people's cats. The absurdity of such a claim became the talk of the industry, sparking widespread speculation and disbelief. While the court ultimately dismissed the case, the questions surrounding Thompson's allegations continue to linger. Why would someone risk their entire career to make such outlandish claims? And why, after these accusations, did Thompson struggle so much to find work in the industry? Is this just the way the industry operates, ruthless, full of hidden forces and unseen powers? Or is there something deeper, something darker at play here? There's an unsettling feeling that builds when you start looking at the people surrounding Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Diddy, and other influential figures in the music world. These are powerful circles with private gatherings and unspoken deals that extend far beyond music. When you start connecting the dots, old tragedies resurface, like the mysterious death of Aaliyah. Rumors have circulated for years that Aaliyah's death wasn't just a tragic accident, but part of a larger, more sinister narrative. A rumor that suggests she was silenced after rejecting someone in the industry, clearing the path for Beyoncé's rise to dominance. The story surrounding Aaliyah is haunting, and it stirs the kind of questions that won't easily be answered. Aaliyah was a rising star, adored by fans and respected by her peers. But after her passing, some have speculated that certain individuals, including Beyoncé, may have benefited from her untimely death. These rumors take on a chilling edge when you consider that Aaliyah was just beginning to break through in a way that could have threatened the industry's power structure. The idea that someone might have gained from her death is not just a conspiracy. It's an uncomfortable possibility that has stuck in the public's mind. And then there's the case of Pimp C, known for his unfiltered honesty and willingness to speak out against the music industry. Pimp C hinted at things that didn't sit right with him before his own sudden and mysterious passing. He was a man unafraid to challenge the industry, but even he found himself caught up in something much darker than he could have ever anticipated. Some have claimed that Pimp C had access to a tape involving a famous R&B star, possibly Beyoncé. While the tape was never released, its existence has been the subject of much speculation. The rumors persist, whispering that there's footage that could expose things that people have worked so hard to keep hidden. Though the tape itself remains a mystery, the rumors surrounding it have endured, gaining momentum as they've passed from one person to another. What would the tape show, and why would Pimp C have been in possession of it? Why did he make hints that only added to the cloud of secrecy surrounding Beyoncé and others in her circle? As time passes, these unresolved questions continue to fester, and the unsettling feeling that something far darker than mere industry drama is at play only grows stronger. The deeper you go into the connections and the layers of secrecy surrounding Beyoncé and the people close to her, the harder it is to ignore the weight of these unsolved mysteries. Is it just coincidence, or are there forces at play that have been operating in the shadows, shaping the industry and the careers of those at its center? These are the questions that have yet to be fully answered, and they leave an eerie sense of unresolved tension, lurking just beneath the surface. Pimp C's death was officially attributed to lean-related complications and sleep apnea, but for those closest to him, the circumstances surrounding his passing raised more questions than answers. One detail that stuck with many of his friends was the fact that his door was locked the night he died. In a typical situation, if the door was locked, it might imply that Pimp C felt secure, at ease in his environment, perhaps even as if nothing was out of the ordinary. But if the door wasn't locked, that opens up an entirely different level of suspicion. Why would a person leave themselves vulnerable in such a way? The locked door and the lack of clarity around his death have left a sense of unease hanging in the air. People still ask questions. Why did this happen? And why does it feel like there's more to the story than what we've been told? The fact that so many are still questioning the details more than a decade later speaks volumes about the lingering doubt and the layers of the story that remain unexplored. And then there's Erykah Badu, an artist who has fully embraced the mystical and spiritual side of her identity rather than running from it. She has referred to herself as a high priestess of neo-soul, and her music, her performances, her entire aesthetic is infused with themes of spirituality, transformation, and inner exploration. She doesn't shy away from being labeled as someone who is deeply connected to the mystical, the metaphysical. She's openly discussed her involvement in rituals and spiritual practices, sharing her beliefs with the world. Her approach to music and life is one of introspection, of tapping into something beyond the physical realm. But as much as she speaks openly about it, there are still those who wonder, is this just misunderstood spirituality, or is there something more that people are sensing, something deeper that can't be so easily explained? The way some individuals speak of Erykah Badu, the way her presence has been described by those who have worked with her, suggests that her energy is unlike anyone else's. It's as if the very act of being in her presence shifts the atmosphere around her. People who have been close to her speak about the power she radiates, and it goes beyond music. Is it just a carefully crafted persona, or is she truly a conduit for something spiritual, something that channels itself through her art? There's an unmistakable aura of mysticism surrounding her, one that leaves people both captivated and curious, unsure whether they're witnessing the power of genuine transformation or simply witnessing a carefully curated performance of self. When you start putting the pieces together, Kanye's probing questions, the constant and almost ritualistic thanking of Beyoncé, the resurfacing of old rumors, the spiritual labels, and the connections to powerful, influential circles, it starts to feel like something much bigger is at play here. It's no longer about trying to prove anything. It's about perception, the way we view and interpret the situation. Why is it that these names, these figures, continue to appear in the same conversations over and over again? The repetition is unnerving. The questions keep echoing across the internet, and one comment sums it up perfectly. If they think Beyoncé is the only one involved in witchcraft in the music industry, they are very naive. For those who have attended Beyoncé's concerts, the Atmos, fear is described as strange, almost otherworldly, like something beyond a typical live performance. Fans cry not just in admiration, but as if they're being spiritually moved, almost worshiping her in a way that's hard to explain. There's a sense of devotion that goes beyond fandom, and it raises an unsettling question. Why do so many artists, time and time again, feel the need to thank Beyoncé? Even when it doesn't quite make sense, why does her name come up first, above everyone else? Her producers, her team, even their own journey. It's an unspoken rule, and that alone makes you pause. And then when you look at Erykah Badu, who openly embraces the spiritual label and all the mystical energy that comes with it, the lines between art, mysticism, and influence blur even further. Is her spirituality misunderstood, or is there something deeper happening, something beyond the surface that can't easily be explained? There's a certain pull she has, a unique aura that draws people in, changing them in ways that are hard to put into words. Is it just artistry, or is there a deeper spiritual transformation happening? This conversation is far from over, and I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below. What do you think is really going on here? Why do certain names keep popping up in these eerie, repetitive ways? Let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into these untold stories and mysteries. This conversation is far from over, and I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below. What do you think is really going on here? Why do certain names keep popping up in these eerie, repetitive ways? Let's keep this conversation going and dig deeper into the mysteries that surround the industry's biggest stars. If this has made you question everything you thought you knew, Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into these untold stories and secrets. You don't want to miss what's coming next.